Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope that everybody's doing good. If you're new here, hi, I'm Emma. I live in the UK and I love to read romantasy, romance, dark romance, but I do occasionally dabble into some thrillers and historical fiction as well. I've just finished the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie and really enjoyed them. Obviously, I'm going to be giving you my 2 cents about all of the books in that series, but I thought that it would be a fun idea to rank them from my least favourite to most favourite, so that's what we're going to be doing today. If you're not familiar with this series, it's romance with a bit of spice. There's 5 interconnected standalones, all set in a small Canadian town called Chestnut Springs, and at the heart of this series is the Eaton family who own Wishing Well Ranch. They have got very strong family values, they love each other to death, and they're just basically good people. One of the reasons that I enjoy reading so much is it allows me to switch off from work, and I think with this series there's enough going on to keep me interested and keep me engaged, but not so much that it requires a lot of brain power, so it's one of these series that's just very bingeable and easy to read. All of the main male characters in this series have grown up on a ranch. They're not all cowboys though, so there's 1 cowboy, 2 bull riders, an NHL hockey player, and there's also somebody from the military as well. I think that does give the series a bit more variety. Before we start ranking them, I just want to say I really enjoyed this series. I don't think there's a bad book in this bunch. It's just a bit of fun, it's not that serious, so if your book boyfriend doesn't make the top spot, then please don't come for me in the comments. But I would really like to hear your thoughts, and maybe you could comment your ranking in the comments below. It'd be quite interesting to see our different opinions on this. At number 5 we have Flawless, and this is the first book in the series. It's Rhett and Summer's story. So Rhett is a famous bull rider, but he gets himself in a bit of hot water when some comments that he makes goes viral and upsets one of his big sponsors. Summer's a new agent at her dad's agency and she's very keen to prove herself. Rhett is one of his biggest clients, and because he's got himself in this spot of bother, her dad actually assigned Summer to go and help Rhett improve his public image. So she basically follows him around, makes sure he's keeping out of trouble. Essentially, she's just a glorified babysitter for him. Rhett's not happy about this arrangement in the slightest, and he's not shy about letting everybody know his thoughts on it either. He actually comes across as really grumpy, but his agent has said it's non-negotiable. Summer's got to be there, he's got to improve his image, end of story. Summer, on the other hand, is quite a sunshine character, but in no way is she a pushover. She quips right back and she doesn't put up with any of his shit. She actually has quite a difficult relationship with her family, and she also hasn't had the best track record with the men that she's been in relationships with, so I think that gives a bit more depth to her as a character. In this book, we're also introduced to a lot of sub-characters, and these are characters that later become, the main male and female characters of the books later on in the series. So we start seeing glimpses of them in Flawless. But this is grumpy sunshine, it's forced proximity, and I think at one point in the book there is a 1-bed trope as well. Really enjoyed this book, loved the dynamic between Summer and Rhett, and I gave this 3.5 stars. In the number 4 slot we have Hopeless, and this is book 5 in the series. It's Beau and Bailey's story. That was a bit of a tongue twister. So Beau is another Eaton brother. He's just got out of the military following injury, and he's really just deciding what he wants to do with his life. I think that he's sort of been in the military for quite some time. He's done several tours, and I think he'd sort of told his family that once he was out he would become a cowboy and essentially work on the ranch, but I'm not sure that that's what he really wants to do long term. Bailey is part of a family called the Johnsons, and in that town they've got a really bad reputation. They drink too much, probably take drugs, do petty crimes, generally just not really a family that you want to be associated with. But she unfortunately has very much been tarred with the same brush, even though she's not like a family at all. So she wants to get on in life, she's trying to find herself a job, she wants to move out away from her family, save up, put herself through school, but it's just not happening because nobody in the town's giving her that chance. They're seeing her last name and it's a non-starter before, she's even opened her mouth. This comes out in conversation with Beau. They've been friends for some time. He sits in the bar, they have a bit of chit chat, so there is like, you know, a friendship there. But I don't think he really believes it's as bad as she's making out, and I think he sort of takes the stance that it's just more to do with the fact that she needs to stand up for herself more than, you know, the town not giving her a chance, so to speak. So he offers to essentially have a fake engagement with her because the Eatons are so well renowned and admired in that area. I guess the plan is that if she's taking the Eaton name, this will counteract, you know, her bad family name association and will help her sort of move on with life. So they have this fake engagement, and you know, as all sorts of like fake dating scenarios with romances, feelings start to develop. There's also the dynamic of how she's treated in the town, and that obviously makes Beau feel a certain way as well. So I did enjoy this. It was a nice story, kept me engaged, a little bit different coming from the military background rather than the ranch background, and also, you know, dealing with her family dynamic. They're not wanting her to better herself, they're wanting her basically to drag her back in, keep doing what she's doing because she's supporting them, and they don't want that to change. In spot 3 we have Powerless, and this is the third book in the series. It's Jasper and Sloane's story. So Jasper is not an Eaton by blood, he's actually Beau's best friend from childhood, but he does have a very tragic backstory with regard to his immediate family. So from a child, he was sort of adopted into the Eaton clan and brought into the fold. He spent a lot of time there since he was a boy, and is very much considered to be part of the family by everybody. Sloane, on the other hand, is an Eaton relative. She's not one of the siblings, she's actually a cousin. So although she didn't live at the ranch, she used to spend a lot of time there over the summers from when she was a childhood up to now. And her and Jasper have been friends ever since they were kids. At the beginning of this book, Sloane's engaged to be married to this horrible man. He's just not a nice person. He doesn't really care about her. He completely overlooks her, doesn't value her opinion. She's just really there as a trophy to sort of sit there, be quiet and look pretty. Her dad has essentially arranged this marriage because he wants to do business with her fiance's family, but her feelings and sort of love match has not really been considered as part of this engagement. On her wedding day, she gets an anonymous message with some video evidence of him not behaving very appropriately, and she decides to call off the wedding. Jasper, of course, is there to help get her out of that situation, so he helps her break out of the church, and there's a bit of a runaway bride moment. But her family, especially her dad, are not happy about this at all. They essentially think that she should just suck it up, get married, stop messing about, and do her obligation to the family. So there's a lot of opinions about what she should and shouldn't be doing. Obviously her dad and her fiance want her to suck it up and you know, get on with the marriage. So she decides to spend some time at the ranch to recoup, get away from everybody, and really think about what she wants to do and what she wants for her life. Jasper's also going through a very difficult time at the same time as Sloane, so they're spending a lot of time together just as friends, supporting each other and just keeping an eye out for one another. They go on a road trip together across the country to deliver some hay to another family member, and feelings, you know, start to bubble to the surface. I think that both of these characters have had feelings for each other for some time. Certainly Sloane from when she was a child, but obviously it wasn't, you know, appropriate to have this crush when she was younger. But I think both of them are very scared to voice how they feel because of the wider family dynamic. They're scared of being rejected by the other in case it impacts their friendship and they lose that. But they're also scared of making it awkward for everybody else in the family and spoiling the dynamic there as well. At number 2 we have Heartless, and this is the second book in the series. It's Cade and Willa's story. So Cade is the eldest Eaton brother. He's a cowboy, he's extremely grumpy, and he's also a single dad. He needs some help taking care of his son, so Summer has been trying to help him hire a nanny, but there's been a problem with everybody that they've interviewed, and Summer's just pulling her hair out at this point. So she decides to offer the position to her best friend Willa. Willa moves in from the city to take this job, and I guess for Willa, she also wants to spend a bit of time with her best friend over the summer as well. But Cade and Willa meet before they realise that she's going to work for him. It's a very funny meet cute. I found it entertaining. And there's certainly attraction there from the get-go. But Cade, when he finds out that Willa is going to be the nanny, he's not happy about it at all. He pushes back quite strongly. But Willa just gets on with his son so well. The relationship between Willa and his son Luke is beautiful. I really enjoyed that part of the book. And Willa just gets under Cade's skin. There's a lot of back and forth between them. I really enjoyed their dynamic. They sort of wind each other up, not necessarily in a good way to begin with, but it's single dad, it's nanny trope, it's grumpy sunshine, and I very much enjoyed this book. And in the top spot is Reckless. This is book 4 in the series, and it's Winter and Theo's story. I think actually this is the only book in the series where the male character and the lead female character don't have any blood relation to the Eatons. So Winter is Summer's sister, and Theo is a bull rider. Rhett is actually his mentor, and he's been training him for quite some time now. But because the Eatons are so social, you know, they're sort of socialised within the wider family. They both meet at an Eaton family dinner, and there's a bit of back and forth between them, a bit of squabbling, but there's a bit of flirtation under there as well. They both find each other attractive. And after this dinner, they end up having a one-night stand. They both agree that they're never going to see, you know, it's not going to become anything. Both of them are at points in their life where they don't need a long-term relationship right now. Winter is just separated from her husband, who is a complete arsehole. She's in the process of divorcing him. Theo is early on in his career. It's going really well. He's travelling a lot with work. They part ways after this one night, and they don't intend it to be any more than that. But Winter does a test, and it has a positive sign on it, so this changes things a lot. This book is accidental pregnancy trope. There's also a very, very big miscommunication that happens in this book. It does come out, but maybe not as early as we would have wanted it to, which adds, I guess, some more drama and hurt to the situation. But this is a lovely story. I like the relationship building between Theo and Winter, the relationship that they have with their child, also Winter's relationship with Summer as well. There's a lot of healing that's gone on there, because I think she is quite regretful about how she's treated Summer in the past. As I said, Summer and Winter had a very difficult upbringing with a very unusual situation. So that's a relationship that Winter sort of wants to improve, because she realises that she does love Summer and she wants to have, you know, a much better relationship with her going forward. So there's lots going on in this book, lots of dynamics. We see glimpses of the other characters as well from the other books, but I just enjoyed this one so much. So that was my ranking for all of the books in the Chestnut Springs series. I really wish that Elsie Silver would write a spin-off book for Harvey Eaton's story. So Harvey is head of the family. He's all of the Eaton siblings' dad. We see him in every single book. He's always there for a heart-to-heart, really good advice with his kids, but also their partners, his grandson. He's such a lovable character. I think that he lost his wife, I want to say in childbirth, but I'm not sure about that. She passes away very early anyway, and I think that he's been on his own for at least 30 years. We see glimpses of his story throughout the books where he says, you know, that he's had a relationship with some women in town, but it's not been very serious. And I think in the last couple of books we saw a bit of an insight to a story for him where he may find love and get his happy ending as well. I would really love to read about that, and maybe she could show that book across the timeline of the whole series, because I'm sure that he's wanted to shake his kids at various times, got really frustrated with them, but he's also very proud and loves them so much as well. So I personally would love to see that book and see how that story pans out. I don't know whether it would happen, but I'm putting it out into the universe anyway. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. As I said at the start, let me know what your ranking is in the comments, because I would love to see what your thoughts and opinions on this are. But yeah, that is the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, please let me know by giving it a like. And if you want to see more videos from me, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future uploads. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next one. Enjoy the rest of your day.